Hey guys, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe, hit the bell for more content, hit the likes. We do likes around here. Like. Share away. We share away here. We do this for the love of Star Wars. And today's video is about an article I found on Intellectual Takeout, and I think you guys will like it. It's short, sweet. It's by a guy named Grayson Quay, and you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then you guys can read it. Let me know what you think. Hey guys, it's Stephanie. As preview to this video from the holodeck of the Millennium Falcon, stated this is going to be a little bit about why fantasy is so important in the day and age of a society forgetting where it came from. I'm linking an article written by Grayson Quay for Intellectual Takeout. I want you to read it. It's a very short article, so you're not going to get bogged down on anything real heavy duty. But it'll make you start thinking about why we love Lord of the Rings, why Harry Potter, to a certain extent, it was such a big deal, and of course, the greatest fantasy film stories of all time, Star Wars. I want to bring this up. There's a part of it where he starts talking about when a society forgets its past, traditionalism becomes rebellion. And let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about what Luke Skywalker grew up with. Luke, when we meet him, is an 18-year-old farm boy living on a moisture farm, helping his uncle Owen, dreaming of leaving to become a pilot, going to the academy, I assume at Karita, to become an Imperial pilot. That's what he wants to do, or to do anything like that. And he knows of the rebellion against the Empire. Here's the thing. We have this Empire in this far-flung galaxy. When you meet his friend Biggs Darklighter, there's a scene that was filmed that was not put in the movie, where Biggs is talking about what the Empire's actually been doing, and basically taking over business, taking over trade, making it very much impossible for anybody to make a living. You know, this is a totalitarian regime, a fascist, socialist totalitarian regime. Darklighter basically gives the libertarian view of what's going on with the Empire and why it's bad, and why he left the Imperial Navy, why he ran away from the academy to join the rebellion. There's another scene where Luke is looking up, and he's got his binoculars, and he's looking up and he sees the attack that we witnessed in the beginning of A New Hope on the Tantive 4 by Vader's Star Destroyer. And you can see these little explosions way up in the sky. So you get an idea that this Empire is there. How do they affect Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru and their little farm? How much money does Owen make? How much money does the local Grand Moff take? All right. This is the problem. This is why people are rebelling against the Empire. But we also have instituted slavery of alien races like Wookiees. We have corruption by the Moffs and the Grand Moffs, as noted in A.C. Crispin's novels. We have the clamping down on information, free speech, business in general, taxation, the fact that the Empire, like I said, is taking over everything. And it affects even the smallest people. The Emperor himself affects the smallest person as well as the wealthiest person. All right? There's a social stratus going on that hadn't been there before. There's a lack of respect for alien races. There's a lack of respect for lower class people. It is truly a totalitarian regime. And even to the extent where it affects hut space, which is what Tatooine is Tatooine is in hut space. Nal Hutta, Nar Shaddaa, the Smuggler's Moon, Tatooine, all that. We can imagine taxation being, you bought those luxury goods, but we're going to put a 25-30% tax on it. And it goes from being luxury to being out of of a person who wants to buy it, out of their realm of being able to buy it because they don't have enough money. And the Emperor needs, of course, cash to keep building up his fleet, his military, and whatever else little weird projects he's got. This is his ultimate iron fist, to control everything in the galaxy. And you do that by taxation and regulation. And this is why the smugglers become such a big deal. There are goods that Han Solo himself has smuggled that were never prescribed for, or out of a person's ability to pay for them until Palpatine rose to power. Okay, this is the world that Luke has grown up with. And he understands, when he meets Ben Kenobi, Ben tells him about his father. Ben then goes on to explain that, the Clone Wars, his father fought in the Clone Wars. His father was a great Jedi Knight and warrior. And Ben was his mentor. And Ben, thought that he could train Anakin. And this is how Luke is brought in to understand his past. Luke, when he joins the rebellion, embraces the traditionalism of the old Jedi Order, the old Republic as it was. And he becomes the ultimate rebel. Again, when you embrace traditionalism in a time where society is forgetting its past, you become the ultimate rebel. And I kind of look at it as a way real Star Wars fans are behaving towards Disney's the way Disney's is ruining and trashing Star Wars. We want what we grew up with. We want what we knew to be Star Wars. This is why we're rebelling. We don't like what they're doing. And I find it fascinating is that the people yelling at us the most are the ones that represent the most hostile regimes to liberty and freedom. Pablo Hidalgo himself says he's a leftist dirtbag. There's nothing more hostile to individual liberty, to opportunity, to education and the past, and self-identity as a left-wing socialist of any stripe, fascist, communist, Maoist, Castroite, whatever. You cannot, and the thing that Star Wars teaches us is no matter how hard you try, you cannot change the past. The past is always going to be that way. And this is symbolized by the fact that Anakin returns in Return of the Jedi. Anakin is literally the Jedi that returns. All right, when he picks up the Emperor and heaves him over the side into that air shaft. All right, it's not necessarily Luke. Luke is the key for Anakin's redemption and return. And he is the one who ultimately not only saves Luke, he saves the galaxy, and he brings balance to the Force. I'm going to remind you of the scene in Revenge of the Sith where Anakin has got Count Dooku on his knees, and he's got both lightsabers, the red lightsaber representing the dark side, and the blue lightsaber representing the light side, the Jedi. Anakin literally is holding the balance of the Force in his hands, and that is exactly what George Lucas wanted to convey in that scene. Now, I know a lot of people who don't like the prequels because they're morons, didn't really see it that way, but that's exactly what is there in that scene. It is a beautiful, beautiful scene. It is something that is truly needed to give you the idea of who Anakin is. He is the chosen one. He is the one that, because that he is such a powerful Jedi, that he is created literally by the Force itself. And what's really interesting is on a side note, they're trying to make it seem like Palpatine himself actually was the one that manipulated the midichlorians to create Anakin. Now, maybe that might be, but again, what did the Force do as a pushback? All right, this is Anakin's idea of, this is Anakin as the chosen one. Palpatine's biggest mistake was trying to manipulate, ultimately, the Force itself. It is hubris. It is arrogance that you cannot deny. That is Palpatine's biggest mistake, and he pays for it when what he thinks of this being that he created, this powerful Jedi, turns on him. And even Yoda says in Revenge of the Sith, and I'm going to paraphrase, your apprentice will one day turn on you. Okay, and Anakin turns on him. And that is what happens to Palpatine. So, okay, what can we glean from this? Here's what we can glean. And this is kind of funny. This is kind of, this is when you open up the Intellectual Takeout article. Again, it's Luke looking back to the past to fight for the traditions, the things that made things work, to preserve what was good, rather than, the artificial, phony corruption. And ultimately, when you look at how the Sith are, they're very artificial. Even the crystal set they use for their lightsabers, they have to use Sith alchemy to create them. They can't just go out and find the crystal in nature. They have to create it, which makes them this artificial, unnatural, and Palpatine himself says, there are things about the dark side that Jedi consider unnatural because it is unnatural. Okay? And it's important for us to look at Luke Skywalker, Leia, who is, part of this rebellion against the new status quo, the phony status quo, the status quo that sits on the natural ability of human beings and other beings to interact with each other. And Han Solo, who, when you look at Han, he literally is the one that is the rebel in all this, because he doesn't care that the status quo is there. He's going to fly under its radar to live his life as he chooses. He literally is the biggest rebel there. He even rebels against the Alliance in some ways. He doesn't want anything to do with it until he meets Leia. And when you look at him, he is literally the freest character when you meet him in Star Wars. Okay, now freedom, it comes with responsibility. There's a huge difference between license, and the dark side represents license. And you literally become a servant to your predilections, to your, you become a servant to the worst part of your body, to the worst part of your personality. Okay, Vader becomes a servant to his anger. Palpatine is a servant to his hubris and his longing to be the ultimate power in the galaxy. That is not freedom. It's license. And there's a huge difference. And Star Wars describes that. idea. Totalitarian regimes and what we have right now on the left, the social justice warriors, they are servants to licentiousness. There's no personal responsibility at all. Do whatever you want. Do whatever that feels good. Even if it's ultimately bad for you and bad for people around you. Okay. That is the Sith in a nutshell. Okay. A slave to things that are unnatural, that are bad, they're not good for people. Freedom is the ability to be responsible for yourself, to be responsible for your own behavior, to be an adult. Ultimately, Han becomes that adult. Leia becomes that adult. Luke becomes that adult. They embrace that journey to ultimate individual liberty by embracing traditions of the past, the Jedi, the Old Republic, and traditional roles of family, of social interaction, not just between human beings, but between every type of being out there in the galaxy. So I kind of rambled on a little bit, but I really want you guys to kind of think about this because I really, really like this article. It's very short, it's very sweet, but it'll make you think of the bigger picture of what Star Wars is really about Luke's role in Star Wars, about Leia's role, about Han's role, about Anakin's role, about Palpatine's role, about what the Empire represents, the time and place that it represented, and how it represents, and how, it represents what's going on even in the Star Wars fandom against Disney right now. Okay? We can take maybe as fans, we can take our lead from what Luke did, from what Han did, from what Leia did, and ultimately be victorious in our struggle. So I'd like to have your opinions. I know I rambled a little bit. It was supposed to be a little bit shorter than it was, but I'd like to have your opinions on this article. Again, like I said, it's short and sweet. Read it. Tell me what you think. It kind of makes perfect sense. And given the time and place where Star Wars first came out in the 70s, and the symbolism throughout the entire OT, and the symbolism and the stories throughout the prequels. Tell me what you think, because I'm really interested. I know it's a little bit, intellectual and stuff like that, but, I'm a history major. I'm 3 credits shy of being a double major with literature, so I tend to like to tear things apart to figure out what it really means. And I really think Grayson Quay has it down pat. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you around the galaxy. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed those latest video. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I have fun with all the subscribers. We do this for the love of Star Wars and because it's a lot of fun. And so I hope you subscribed. Hit the bell for more content when you get notified. Hit the like button and share away. And I'll see you around the galaxy.